Welcome. Thank you very much for clicking on my channel. I appreciate you guys being here. My name is Katie Brannon. In this podcast, I have dark content. I talk about true crime, mystery, stuff that kind of makes people sad. If you are fascinated by dark content, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. This video may be pretty long. This is going to be a part 1. I can definitely tell. I've been researching all month for this, and I have found so much about this that we could just have so much podcast about just this subject alone. But I really want to pinpoint a few things. We're going to do the dark side of beauty, fashion, beauty trends, a Victoria's Secret model, plastic surgery. Yeah, we're just going to tiptoe into the subject right now. So take a deep breath, because here we go. Before I begin, I just want to say thank you for the subscribers. Thank you for the shares and the comments. It really, really means a lot to me. At the end of this podcast, I will be talking about a product that I absolutely love, and I will put all her information down in the description box below. But before we begin anything about fashion, if you know, fashion has been around for thousands of years. But this particular podcast, I do want to start with supermodels. I want to start with the women as we all looked up to. I mean, in our eyes, they were goddesses. They were untouched. They were perfect. And I was trying to realize that, I remember them in the 80s and 90s. But there also was a supermodel from Sweden who started it all, okay? I had to use AI to sound these words out. So if I say the names wrong, I used AI, honestly, because I want to get their names right. But if they're not, forgive me. It's not out of disrespect. It's because I didn't know how to say their name. But we're going to go back to Lisa Fossagrives. Yes, I'm probably butchered that name, but she was Swedish and she was gorgeous. She was the type of model that was absolutely fierce, okay? Her career began in the 1930s and all the way to the 1950s. So she was on covers of Vanity Fair. Yeah, the original Vanity Fair. Life, Vogue, Time, Harper's Bazaar. She was born May 17th, 1911 in Sweden. She was a trained dancer and a sculptor. Her attitude and elegance, as you see in these photos, just screams, I'm fierce, watch out, I'm taking over the world. All right? So then, we do appreciate where the appreciation is due. But again, being a supermodel in the 1930s, don't think that sounds fun. I mean, after all, we talked about Wizard of Oz and, poor Dorothy, okay? Like, the actress, what she went through with the diet of coffee, cigarettes, and diet pills. I'm not sure if this is what this model did, but I started reading a lot that's how a lot of supermodels kept their physique for a very long time. Yes, people are born with genetics that have them very thin and a high metabolism. But for the most part, after you hit 30, a lot of the metabolism slows down. I mean, I feel like mine left me a very long time ago. So let's jump to the 1980s, 1990s, where literally the supermodel term began and how we know as it is today. We still have models today. We have Bella Hadid, we have Kendall Jenner. Those are the ones I would say are like models today. Even, Zendaya, I feel. She totally is a model to me, but she's an actress, so that's definitely not true. So these beautiful, immaculate women who were just all over the screens and on advertisements, movies, television. Before that, modeling wasn't mainstream. They were noticed in, like I said, the 1930s in magazine covers, but it wasn't so like when you woke up in the morning, that's all you would see is models. Now, I did read some comments that people that were born in the 1940s or 50s or 60s, they did feel pressured to be skinny. They thought being skinny and cleaning house is just the way to be. And I feel that, I don't want to say things are 100% fact. I'm just talking about a different kind of perspective that maybe women felt back in those days. Even today, we still feel pressured, even though we are blessed to have queen size or plus size models. But at the same time, not really. Culture is definitely shifting back. You take things like Ozempic, which I'm not knocking on. I have plenty of friends that are on it. They look great. You look great, honey. But the side effects are awful, just awful. So please, before you take any kind of medicine shot, please know the side effects, because they can be very, very brutal. Now back to supermodels. Now, remember when I told you guys that I'm interested in fashion, beauty, and models? I have. I know I'm not the kind of person that you think would, but I always have been. Perhaps it's because my Mercury and my Venus is Libra. Beauty. You get it. There has been a lot of models, okay? But for this podcast, I'm only going to talk about a couple because I'm talking about other chapters as well in this podcast. So I'm going to be talking about Linda. Yes, you know her name, everybody. Oh yeah, Linda Evangelista. You remember that face. She is known as the chameleon. She had long hair, short hair, wore whatever she liked, and graced the covers of the magazine. She was like this beautiful Amazon goddess. She actually came from Canada, and she was born May 10th, 1965. What is it with the Taurus women starting being supermodels? I mean, I don't blame Taurus women at all. I think they're the most beautiful, sophisticated, and you don't mess with them. And they're also very stubborn. So I feel like in this kind of, industry, you have to be tough. You have to be very, very tough, especially to get as far as Linda has gone. I was looking into her kind of, was she noticed on the street kind of thing, like many models are, they're just noticed at supermarkets or flea markets or, anywhere. I can't name any off the top of my head, but a lot of, models are recognized that way. But Linda, she had a very hard road to go to. She did. Now, even though she was absolutely stunning and beautiful, it's a dog eat dog world, or as I should say, cat eat cat world. You know what I'm saying? So, but Linda was obsessed with fashion. She grew up with glamour, and she absolutely loved it. But she worked extremely hard to save up for her portfolio. She actually was in the model industry for years before they even picked her up, which kind of blows my mind. I'm like, how do you not see her? But she was passed on because they wanted blonder, taller models. And, honestly, it took one opportunity, you guys, for Linda to blow up. Yes, it was Vogue. She had one photo shoot with Vogue, and that was it. She was everywhere after that. She's actually been on over 700 magazine covers. What? Yeah, I read that. I'm like, 700? That's a lot. I mean, I could see if she is in the magazine 700 times, but who knows? I read it and I was like, you go, girl. You go, Taurus Queen. And she was on the runway for like 10 years. She did other stuff too. I was told she did a little thing in acting in movies. Not really big parts, but I think she did like background work. So Linda was the kind of person that just want to keep on, she just kept on going. Except I read that like a decade of her being on the runway, one day she just disappeared. Poof. Gone. No one knew where she was. People were like, did she retire? Is she sick? What happened? You guys, this is wild. So what happened was that she was hiding. Yes, she was hiding for about 5 years, and mostly for herself. She was hiding from a botched plastic surgery procedure. And this kind of procedure, I would not consider plastic surgery personally because it's very non-invasive. In fact, if I drive an hour away from here, perhaps 2 hours, there's always some kind of clinic that offers this procedure. I actually was thinking about doing it, but ever since I read this, I'm like, maybe not. I didn't even know this was a thing. So what I'm talking about is that cool sculpting. Yes, you've probably seen it around the mall. You've probably seen little, just different people and little setups of little TVs saying cool sculpting, the easiest way for fat loss, stuff like that. But for some reason, she got the worst side effect of all. Now, the pressures of the industry got to her because if guys are watching this, or women, our bodies completely change after 30. They do. It's just the way it is. So in order for you to lose weight or be in the industry of modeling, you have to have the perfect figure. You have to have the discipline. Well, she didn't lose weight as fast as she wanted, and plus she had a child. So people need to lay off. But the pressures of the industry did get to her, and she did this procedure. And it was simple. It was non-cutting. It was something that we hear about a lot. I don't know about you, but I've heard about, cool sculpting for a long time. In 2015, there was a cool sculpting procedure that she did, she had done. I couldn't see what parts of her body it touched, but cool sculpting is usually around the stomach area. But I also read that you could do the face too. If you have some fat deposits in the face, you could, go around your face. But it's mostly the stomach area. I call it the fupa or apron, whatever you want to call it. Now, like I said, it's non-invasive. But what it does, it is designed to freeze and reduce the fat cells in your body. So instead of shrinking the fat cells in Linda's body, she developed a rare side effect, and that was called paradoxical adipose. Man, I am not good at sounding things out. Paradoxical adipose hyperplasia. PAH. That was a tough one. My apologies. And you're wondering, well, Katie, what is that? Oh man, I can't imagine. This is so awful. This is the opposite of what she wanted. The absolute nightmare that anybody who goes to this procedure, that this would happen to. Her fat cells did not dissolve. No, they actually grew and they multiplied and they hardened. Yeah, she had bulges form on her body where she didn't even recognize herself. There are people out there that kind of make fun of her because they're like, what's the matter with a few little pounds on you, or bulge here or bulge there? To her defense, that's not her body. She worked very hard for a very long time with strict discipline, which toward the end of this podcast, I'll tell you that some diets the women had to go through. And it's like, wow, that's not even living life. But if you want to get to that perfect figure, you'll do whatever you can do. Now, she did not recognize herself because that was not her body. Even though when we see her, we're like, oh, she looks average, she looks kind of healthy, but she's not. She was miserable and she didn't even know who she was anymore. And it's not for vanity. She lost her identity. And she would say things like, well, Versace would not want to dress me with this sticking out of my body. So she would have noticeable bulges. I didn't find anything on the internet about it. She's very, very hush hush about it. But I believe her. I mean, if someone is really, that's sad and devastated about this botched cool sculpting surgery. Well, it's not really surgery. It's, non-invasive, but it's a procedure. If she is really that heartbroken about it and hid for 5 years, and then kind of hit again. She kind of became a recluse. Then that was a huge deal for her. I feel like that's a huge deal for any person to go through. Now, she tried to reverse this procedure. Yeah, she tried to fix it. But it's irreversible. The damage that, cannot be fixed. And the face that built her career, the body that built her career is gone. She'll never be the same again. Well, life wasn't done with poor Linda. Years later, she was actually diagnosed with breast cancer. And she had a bilateral mastectomy. And I read that both breasts were removed. So I'm not sure. I just know that she had breast cancer and she wanted to come back to the spotlight of the runway. She wanted to come back to the fashion world because, the cool sculpting devastated her and she hid and she didn't want to come back because she was, she wasn't herself. But then she said that when she found out that she might die, that was when she's like, I'm coming back. And, Linda is not running, not walking the runways, you guys, but she is very looked up to with other models. Even to this day, everybody knows who Linda is. Like, she paved the way for other models. So she is getting work here and there, which is wonderful. But I'm afraid nowhere near as how she did in the 80s and 90s. I mean, she has been personally, I read that she said, I won't get out of bed until I make $10,000 a day. And I'm like, ooh, girl, I love that. I love it. Same, right? Who's with me out there? Honestly. So she is still alive, which is amazing. And now she wears the most beautiful gowns and she's in magazine covers again, which is awesome. And she wrote a book about her struggles and she loves her son. In fact, her whole world is her son. And I love how she is just gracing the magazine covers and saying like, kind of like F you to the, to the impossible standards of beauty, especially during the 80s and 90s supermodel fashion days. So I think that's amazing for Linda. Really sad about cool sculpting. I was looking into it personally, I think like a few years ago, because like I'm a yo-yoer kind of thing. You guys were very sweet when you guys saw my older podcast and you see newer. As you can see, I yo-yo and I'm just that kind of person. I'm starting something that is really like not vegan because I was vegan for a while and I do recommend it. But please be ready because your body is going to detox everything that is not vegan. Okay. So I remember having high fevers. I remember getting sick, but I did look amazing. After a few months, I looked amazing. But then I realized that for me personally, I wasn't living my life. But now I want to, I don't want to say exactly my age, but I'm getting up there in age and I really need to start taking care of myself. So I recently just started these green juices in the morning. So I'm excited about that. So maybe I will talk about that on my Instagram, but we shall see. So I'm going to talk about another supermodel who I absolutely love. My God, I just love her so much. I knew about her because of my mother. My mom loves Iman. Okay. Iman, Zara, I know her name is Zara. She is just perfect. And I'm going to talk about the struggles that she had when she was a supermodel, the dark side of beauty. Hers was, I didn't even see that coming, but I guess I'm naive, or I was. Not anymore though, because that was rough. Zara Muhammad Abdul Majid, also known as Iman, she was, she is from Somalia, and she was actually noticed in Kenya. She is one of those models that paved the way for the women of color, honestly. And she just did not back down. I absolutely love her. I've been hearing about her for a very, very long time. My mother would say that, she's extremely intelligent And not only she's gorgeous, but she also was with David Bowie. And I'm like, what? I love David Bowie. No way, But she was born July 25th, 1955. Definitely shows. Her Leo definitely shows. She was discovered in 1975 in Kenya. And it was kind of terrible, but the person who discovered her said in a news article that she was a young goat herder that didn't speak a lick of English. End quote. Well, 3 months later, Iman wowed everybody, okay? She wowed the press, not only for her exquisite beauty, but also her intelligence. She spoke 4 languages fluently. Yeah. And she was a diplomat's daughter. Quote, I was going to speak for myself when I got here. End quote. She wanted to get the record straight. She controlled her narrative, and she continues, you guys, to be with fashion to this day. That means for over 50 years. She is currently the executive producer for Vogue's Supreme Models. Yeah, pretty cool. She recently meaning a few years ago, I didn't even hear about this until I was doing research. Now, I have a pet cat. He was just giving me kisses. I apologize. Hi, honey. Hi. You can hear him in the background. I think he wants to be on camera. He usually is. Like when I'm during my meetings. Oh, here he is. Hello, baby. Hello. All right. Well, if you guys are seeing this is Bowie. This is my Sphinx. This is my baby. I'm going to put you down, okay? I love you. Sweet boy. All right. Sorry about that. Well, I realized that I did not say Tea Time True Crime with Katie. But I think I didn't because this isn't true crime. This is dark content. Well, how these women were treated definitely is a crime. I'm taking a break right now and having some hot tea in my awesome Rocky Horror Picture mug from Retro Daddy-O. And I'm having honey with lemon. I love it. I love it. As we go back to Iman and she was a trailblazer. I'm serious. I had no idea. But I will just, like I said, I wish I could do a whole podcast on her. But right now we're just doing yeah, okay. She would talk about the pay difference between the white models and the black models. And I'm telling you, there was a discrepancy. You definitely noticed there was a difference between her pay. Well, when Iman found that out, she told her agent, well, you call me when they are willing to pay the same amount. 3 months later, she got her answer and her payment went through. She talks about how other models of color just struggled horribly in the beginning. Now, not only to book the models, not only their pay was so different, but also makeup artists. Yeah, makeup artists. Yeah, they're racist makeup artists. Racism is so stupid. I feel like we should just love everyone, no matter what. Doesn't matter where you come from, what you look like. You treat people how you want to be treated. I know I say that in a lot of my podcasts, but I really mean it. I don't understand where the hate comes from. I don't understand. I never will. But makeup artists would tell the women of color that were models, and they would be like, hey, we don't have your foundation shade, so you need to bring your own. They would never have their foundation shade. Now, I did read back then in the nice fancy department stores, they did have shades. They did. But if you're a makeup artist, you should carry all the shades, right? I mean, especially if you're getting paid good money to do the runways. But I'm not sure how much the makeup artist got paid in the 80s or 90s. So you know what Iman did? She was like, okay, bet. I will develop my own cosmetics line. And she did. And she's a multi-millionaire because of it. She made her own cosmetics line in 1994. She claims to this day with the modeling industry, there has been improvement, but we got to keep, the foot on the gas. Because she claims in 2013, there was barely any representation of diversity, which is crazy. Like, what? She is an executive producer on a 6-part series called Supreme Models. She did a documentary that told the stories of Black models who shattered barriers in the fashion industry, who made an impact on, and beauty standards. So she helped form the Black Girls Coalition in 1988 with fellow models Naomi Campbell and Beth Ann Hardison. For me, though, guys, she will forever be David Bowie's wife. Did you guys see that? I think it was a few years ago. She was on a new special, and they were, she is a widow. And she was talking, they were saying ex-husband or something that was like a past tense of a husband. And she blatantly said, no, I'm still his wife. Yeah. So even though he's been gone since January 10th, 2016, R.I.P. David Bowie, Iman has forever been, with David Bowie, and still will be, I think, even in the afterlife. They're adorable and beautiful together. But yeah, that is a little bit of Iman, and I had no idea about the racism and like how they were treated back in the day. I'm just like, what? Yeah, again, that's my naive brain. So those are just a couple examples of supermodels and how the fashion industry can have a dark side, besides us talking about eating disorders. I mean, there's botched surgeries, there's, not apparently, but there was racism, there was people getting treated very unfairly because of what they look like, where they came from. So the next part I'm going to be talking about Victoria's Secret models. Yes, that is my generation. That is 2000s and up. Like, I remember being a teenager and all the guys were like, oh my God, Victoria's Secret models are the hottest thing in the world. And us as women were like, I want to be a Victoria's Secret model. I want to have wings. Okay, I want those velour jumpsuit pants and sweatshirt and those $60 bras. Yeah, I know. Those were the days, right? In today's standards, we have TikTok. We have social media that is huge, okay? So we hear a lot of Victoria's Secret stories. In fact, you may have heard some of these. I remember when I was younger in like high school and I found out it could have just been an urban legend, but the models were not even allowed to drink water because they couldn't have like a jiggly belly, like had water weight. So what they would be fed was cotton balls. I remember hearing about that, and I don't even know if that's true or not. It could have been just like an urban legend, but who knows? I mean, it's not surprising, especially how strict these diets were in like the 80s and 90s. And even if you look, like I said, back then with Judy Garland, Judy Garland, who played Dorothy, her diet was just barbiturates, cigarettes, and diet pills. Like, that's not how you sustain a body. And tragically, she passed at a very, very young age. But that was pressure from the industry, and then that's also her agents doing that to her. So Victoria's Secret models apparently nowadays have gotten a lot better. I mean, they now portray average size women in the magazines, and they have them on the mannequins. I absolutely love it. But is it too late? Okay, is it too late? Now, we all wanted to be an angel. I don't know about you, but I did. I wanted to wear wings. I wanted to look sexy in that underwear. Okay. And I wanted to be like so skinny where nothing jiggled. Now, there is such thing as, skinny shaming. Yeah, there's fat shaming, skinny shaming, body shaming. How about we just stop with the shaming? How about we just do that? I think that would be a great idea. I think people know what they look like, you know? So, but yeah, no, skinny shaming is real. I saw that firsthand, even though I looked at the person getting made fun of, and I'm like, but I want to be you. And then she looked at me, and I'll never forget this ever. And she was like, well, I want to be you. And I'm like, what? Well, she was very, very skinny. You know, I have a very womanly figure, total Virgo fake figure. And even though I'm not like, you know, I was shocked even to this day when she was just like, I want your body. So it's very interesting when we think of different perspectives. You know, it's kind of the saying, hey, if you have curly hair, you want straight hair. If you have straight hair, you want curly hair. You know, it's something like that. But on to Victoria's Secret. Now, I remember phrases back in the day, let me know, is you are not ugly, you're just poor. Remember that one? Or, of course, we all know beauty is pain. And, you know, the ones I was told a lot is, you know, if you drop 30 pounds, you would be so beautiful. Now, I think just to say that to anybody who has a very impressionable mind, let alone a teenager, is awful. Because as a teenager, we want the results very fast. And that's why mothers don't like Victoria's Secrets or fashion models. I mean, there are fashion models that did it wrong. You know, there was one model that just had vodka and cigarettes. That's it. And then when she felt faint, she would either have a fruit cup or a little bit of a potato chips. Yeah, you can't do that to your body. That would not sustain very long. But I love that on TikTok. If you type in Victoria's Secret diet, and it's like the most healthiest foods. Like you have avocado, you have eggs, you have salads, you have salmon. But then I listened to another TikTok and they're saying that, oh yeah, we're not allowed to eat. We have to tell people that we eat, but we're not allowed to eat. So I'm like, ooh, that's not good. So again, guys, there is all kinds of shaming to the body. I'm just going to say this out here. If this is triggering to anybody, I do apologize. I'm a survivor of ED as well. I tried to be skinny and I did a lot of stupid things that really affected my body. And I'm still learning. I mean, you never stop learning, I swear, on how to take care of yourself. But I want to say that just because you're a little bigger, just because you look different, it doesn't matter. I believe, you know, if you believe in the man upstairs, that's what people call him, the universe, God, Jesus, Allah, whatever you believe in, I believe he created you for a reason. Your uniqueness, whether you have a gap in your teeth, buck tooth, maybe a little bigger, maybe you have very thinning hair, you know, moles on their face, that makes you beautiful. That makes you unique. And I love that in a person. I love when we don't all look the same. I feel like that makes us all beautiful in a way. But again, then the next thing will be about plastic surgery. Not knocking people with plastic surgery, telling you right now, I'm just not, but we're not there yet. Okay. Now, an ex-Victoria's Secret model. Oh my goodness. I don't want to say names because I don't want her being hounded. But if you just like Google Victoria's Secret model secrets or diet, or you will go into a rabbit hole of awful stuff. Main one I couldn't believe was, thank goodness the company is sold now. It's still around. I mean, I love Victoria's Secret. It's very overpriced. But I mean, I love how it's more diversified and you see all different kinds of models and mannequins now. I absolutely love it. But what you guys may have not known was the owner actually knew Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, we're going to go there. Sadly, some of those models were taken to his island and they survived and they told the tale and they were not believed. So that has been going on for God knows how long. That's awful. And, you know, and there was another model that was a model for 10 years and she showed us her secrets on how to, you know, how strict the rules were. So we're going to talk about the rules right now. One of the rules, I could not believe it. I'm like laughing. It's not a laughing matter. I'm going to have some tea now. If this is your first podcast with me, hi, welcome. I appreciate you being here. If you see me smile or laugh, it's literally kind of like a defense mechanism. If I talk about things that are extremely upsetting or awkward, I kind of like have this awkward smile thing going on. It's not to disrespect anybody at all. I believe it's just how I handle anxiety. Okay. One of the main rules was to have lots of sex. Yes, the models were told to have lots of sex. There was actual models that were kind of given to executives and big people in the industry. They didn't say names or anything like that. But again, that's awful. These girls are so tiny. They couldn't even like defend themselves. It's freaking awful. All right. Next thing they made you do was they made you drink chia seeds every day. Chia seeds in order for you not only to go to the restroom, be regular, but also to grow your breasts. I did not know this. I thought this was flaxseed, that's how you grow your breasts, but apparently it's chia seeds and it makes them perkier. Yeah. You would have to wear an oatmeal honey mask 5 times a week. Yeah. Apparently that helps with dark spots, acne. You know, since you're always detoxing your body, you're gonna have pimples and you're gonna have blemishes. That's just how your body reacts to different kind of detoxing. So they would just make them wear oatmeal and honey masks. Not bad, right? Once a week, you would have to drink a spinach celery smoothie to completely detox your body. Completely. Then you would have to brush your teeth with only one kind of toothpaste, which I'm not getting rid of my Sensodyne. I love my Sensodyne toothpaste, but they had to brush with Marvis, Marvis. Yeah, to have like those really white, pearly white teeth, which I'm wearing like this cool gray lipstick and it does not make my teeth look white at all. But I digress. Next thing you would have to do is you were forced to pretty much eat kiwis every day. This is something new I learned. When you eat kiwis, okay, as a biological woman, or man, maybe man, I don't know. I'll see if George will eat a whole bunch of kiwis a week, and I'll see if anything changes down there. Who knows? But apparently to make your vagina or pussy, whatever you want to say, apparently to get the pH levels level, you will completely get rid of that fishy smell. Because again, they're not eating normally. They're really not. So your body is going to be detoxing and you're going to have a weird smell down there. So to get rid of that smell, you just eat a whole bunch of kiwis. So let me know down below if that works. Who knows? I like kiwis anyway. I think they're delicious. I love them with honey and cottage cheese. Oh, game changer, you guys. Game changer. They would also be given hair growth gummies because you have to make sure your hair is still long and smooth, because with you having restricted dieting, you may have hair loss, okay? Because you're not getting the right nutrients in your body. So that's a little crash course in the Victoria's Secret dieting. But I'm telling you, if you Google on TikTok, they're just saying like, I eat this in a day and I eat pizza and I eat nothing but grilled cheese sandwiches. And I'm like, no, there's no way. I know people that are literally naturally skinny and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. But they always say they get picked on for it. And that blows my mind. I'm like, what? Can't we win? Like, can anybody win here? Bullying is awful anyway. I mean, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. But yeah, no, I do have a friend that literally eats nothing but chocolate and pizza and doesn't gain a pound. And I'm like, wow, I look at food and I'm like growing a double chin right now. You know what I'm saying? But again, I think it's very important to absolutely love yourself. If you do want to change yourself, there should be no problem in doing that, because honestly, nobody cares. It's you. It's all on you, and whatever makes you happy. Like, screw everybody else. It's your life. You're going to be the one that's seeing yourself in the mirror all the time. Nobody else. So if you have a problem with it, do something about it. So that will come to a perfect segue. We're going to talk a little bit about plastic surgery. Plastic surgery, my favorite. I have always been fascinated with plastic surgery. I do not know why. Again, maybe it's the beauty standard. I mean, I was really obsessed with it like in the 90s. I guess when Nip Tuck came out, that was early 2000s. I love Nip Tuck. Still mad how it ended. Okay, it wasn't right. But it was a Ryan Murphy show. If you guys are a little younger, before there was American Horror Story, before there was Glee, there was Nip Tuck. And I learned a lot about plastic surgery in those episodes. Amazing. Now, I also learned about how we love to compare the Hollywood glamour from the 1930s, 20s, 40s to today. I have to tell you this. I saw a YouTuber saying that, I miss individuality. I miss, everyone's looking like AI, which, you know what? She's kind of not wrong. There are people out there that are kind of looking like the same. They literally are looking like the same person, some kind of AI cutout or something like that. But I need to tell you that in Hollywood, the golden age of Hollywood, there still was plastic surgery. And it was way worse. Like Rita Hayworth did not look like that in the beginning. No. She actually completely made herself look more Caucasian to get more roles. And she went through horrible pain to have beauty. So, I mean, she got the hair to make sure her, what is it called, guys? It is the hair electronic. Man, I'm looking like a really bad podcaster right now. But basically what they did was zap her hairline. They literally zapped her hairline to be higher, okay? And she bleached her skin. Yeah, bleached her skin. And she did other things too. It's like a lot of other procedures. I got sad because I realized Marilyn Monroe had plastic surgery. I know, I'm gullible, I know, but she had plastic surgery. A lot of people have plastic surgery. It is not a huge thing, but I feel like it's becoming a huge thing when you have really young kids that want to look like filters on your Snapchat. I feel like that's very, very concerning. Plastic surgery I've always been fascinated with it because I do believe it is an amazing medical procedure, especially for people that, they're in a car accident or they're in some kind of trauma accident and they need to, have facial reconstruction, something like that. I think that's amazing. But I feel like we're going way too far when you have young kids that are like 25 and they're asking for facelifts. I'm like, what? Is your face even grown yet? I know I'm sounding like Judge Judy here, but like, I mean, can I judge this? Can I? Because this is... I always tell people, grow into your face. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when you hit your 30s, I feel like that is the most confident you start to become with your body, which is true. My mom was right. Because I had a really hard time in school for a very, very long time. With my self-image, with people making fun of me. It was hell. It totally was. And then my mom always said, she was like, when you hit your 30s, you won't care what people think. And it's the best years. And for me, it keeps getting better and better. So I'm going to keep staying positive, especially for body image and stuff like that. So if you want to have fillers in your face, this is where I'm like, scared to talk about this part because I know a lot of people with fillers. Nothing wrong with that. I actually was thinking about getting it. I was thinking about, getting, the what was it, guys? The buccal fat removal. I was thinking about getting the buccal fat remover. I know. Anya Taylor-Joy, Selena Gomez. I was like, I got little chubby cheeks. I can totally do this procedure, And then when I realized when you take out the fat deposits in your face, you can't get it back. So if you change your mind like in 10, 20 years and you want to have that beautiful volume back in your face, you can't get it back unless you put fillers. which I'm like, well, maybe I should get fillers. You know what I'm saying? I want to have that chiseled jaw. I want to have the pointy chin. There's so much beauty standards that we see all the time that we're like, oh, I want to look like that. I can totally look like that. Now, I found out though, fillers, I'm sorry, the people who I love very much that are listening to my podcast, there has been something awful about fillers recently. Now, remember how it was really huge about like 10 years ago? Everybody was getting filler. Their lips were getting plumped. I actually wanted to get my top lip plumped really, really bad. I'm glad I didn't because I heard the pain is like a bee sting. And I'm like, I'm good. No, thank you. Yeah, no, I don't want to have bee sting in my lips. I'm good. So I'm glad I didn't get it. But then there are other people that got it and they started getting way too filled in the face. Way too filled. I mean, you have people like Kylie Jenner. You even have people like Lindsay Lohan. They're just getting fillers because they think it's the right thing to do because they're saying, hey, you got to get fillers every 6 to 8 months. And I found out with my research, you guys, you do not need that much filler. Even if it's a tiny bit, it does not matter. It does not matter at all because we found out that filler is migrating to other parts of your body. Isn't that nuts? I was like, what? I'm thinking like, oh, cool. So the filler is going somewhere else and snatching something else in the face? No, it's not. It's actually migrating and to patients that had filler. Plastic surgeon from New York. He is really hated right now. Like he is really, really hated because he will not do any more filler in his office because he found out that the filler is migrating in the body. Even if you dissolve it, because people were dissolving it. I think like a few years ago, like I'm done with filler. I want it out of my face. It's gone, right? No. Even if you dissolve it, there's still filler there. And here is a science lesson that I learned. Oh, man. And it's gone. Oh, man. Okay. Hyaluronic acid. I told you I'd get it. It took time. Now, with the filler migrating towards the body, which is beyond scary enough, you're just like, what? What do you mean it's going around my body? There has been instances recently that it has been going to the lymph nodes. And what that means, when you are blocking the lymph nodes, which is the main part of your immune system to fight off infections and illnesses, there are people getting cancer because of fillers. I know, I said the C word. Sorry. And it's crazy because what's in filler is also in our body. So I also read that when people were getting their filler dissolved because they're like, okay, my lips are too hard and my face is getting all hard, get this out of my body, right? It's foreign. Well, how they dissolve it is that they do dissolve it, but they also dissolve what is in your body because we actually have that ingredient in our body that is in filler. So when they are dissolving it, you're also dissolving the actual not collagen, but yeah, pretty much. Yeah, collagen and something else, because there are pictures on there where you have people grabbing their face and it looks like they're rubber. Yeah. It's awful. It's awful. It's crazy because like I said, fillers are just 6 to 8 months, but actually fillers stay in your face for up to 5 years. And there has been patients that didn't have it for 10 years and it was still in their face. Yeah. I know people think it's look at this. It's, just a quick freshen up and, and I mean, I thought filler was a great idea. I was like, this is great. No one's really cutting in the face. You're just injecting, some kind of goo. It looked like goo. It really did. Some kind of goo to to get what you want in your face. But then months and months later, starts to droop. You start to lose it. But actually, you don't lose the filler. It migrates somewhere else. So you're putting more filler in, and that is what causes facelifts. Yeah. Have you seen Lindsay Lohan lately? My God. Because she had a facelift. That poor girl had so much filler, and she's honestly, like, she's not even 40, and she had that just blows my mind. She does look incredible, though. She does. But I have to tell you, when I looked into plastic surgery, I have to tell you this. You have to get it redone. Plastic surgery is not forever. Yeah, that's a hard pill to swallow right there. Because I like made a list, you guys. I was like, I'm going to get buccal fat remover. I'm going to get my breasts done. I'm going to get lipo. I'm going to get a facelift in like 15 years. And then when I found out that, you're supposed to get your breasts done when you have, your breast every 8 to 10 years. When you have a facelift, you're supposed to redo it every 10 years. Ow. And when you look on photos and TikToks, and you see these people, these patients that are going in for a facelift, and you see the recovery process and the bruising and the swelling, it looks awful. It looks very, very painful. And I know it sounds silly because, there are women that get it and they look absolutely amazing. A little touch here, a little touch there, a little Botox here and there. And like I said, guys, I'm not judging you. I mean, if anything, I would love to get stuff done. Why not? But then I'm like, I don't know. Like, I was going to get my eyebrows threaded. Okay. And I was going to get them tattooed. And I'm so glad I didn't, because I changed my mind on the shape of my brow all the time. Like, I had the 90s brow going on in high school. I had like the thick Billie Eilish brow like a few years ago. And then now I'm trying to just do like this cute arch. And of course, my signature cat eye. I love it. I love it. So to talk about the dark side. So there are so many botched. And now that we find out that filler can cause cancer, and that, when you do cool sculpting, it's supposed to be non-invasive, but then it causes like deformity. It's insane. It really is. Like, when I found out about the cancer, I was like, what? But then I looked into it and I'm like, blocking the lymph nodes. Like, you can't block the lymph nodes. Yeah. Why are the 20-year-olds like having facelift? I don't know. I feel like you grow into your face in your 30s. But again, I'm not trying to be Judge Judy or anything, but it's just, you have to get that redone. So when you get a facelift at 25, 38, 55, which I thought people were supposed to get facelifts in their 50s and 60s, That's what I thought it was supposed to happen, but now it's going way lower, and they're having like a menu like it's a takeout order of how to do different facelifts. It's not just the scary Frankenstein rip your face off and like pull it back kind of thing. They have like ponytail facelifts. They have different kind of procedures. I mean, I honestly wanted like a blepharoplasty. It's where, because I have like almond eyes, and I've always wanted like eyes that were like bigger, I don't know. I did like the 23andMe a long time ago, and it said you're 4% Japanese, and I was like, well, that explains my love of Japan and my beautiful almond eyes. Who knows? Yeah. So I'm getting off track. This podcast is supposed to shed some light on there can be darkness with beauty, but again, if you feel that you have to completely transform your body, you have to do a facelift, go to a counselor first. And just make sure that's what you want to do. Because I'm telling you, trends change. I don't know what these beautiful women like Megan Fox, Christina Aguilera, why am I spacing? Jennifer Lawrence, Lindsay Lohan, they look stunning. They do. Kim Kardashian, stunning beauties, but they're starting to look like AI. And I feel bad because, trends are going to end, and I'm looking forward to the clean girl face, or the, love your body kind of phase, and just be more healthy. Because I swear, when people are more happy and and like they love themselves, they tend to treat people nicely. So I feel like we should start with the beauty standard. But yeah, you guys let me know. I appreciate it. Is this a conversation that you guys want to keep on having? If so, put down below in the comments what's on your mind. I really want to do Gia Karanji because that was a supermodel. That was, oh, R.I.P. I loved her, but I feel like I could do a whole podcast on Gia, just whole podcast on her. So what conversation would you like to have? What is something that's on your mind? Because I'm all for beauty. I love anything that enhances somebody's self-esteem, that makes them smile, that makes them want to look in the mirror, and beauty is however you want it to be. Just want to let you know that. And I do think you're fine and beautiful just the way you are. Just keep treating people kindly. Thank you guys for listening or watching. I really do appreciate you. This was a different kind of content, but it is dark. So, there's that. If you are fascinated by true crime or dark content, definitely hit the subscribe button. And down in the description below, I want to talk about one of my favorite companies, because it's one of those companies that people sell for them, which is fine. I mean, I love Pure Romance. I actually was a consultant with them in 2020, but I ended up buying way more than selling. Truth. So I left that. And but I found an amazing Pure Romance person named Melissa. I'm going to have her information down below. She has like a store full of inventory, and she is a wonderful person, so definitely check her out. I appreciate you guys for watching. Please know that you are loved and you are cherished. And remember, you are doing better than you think. Till next time. Bye, guys.